Welcome back to the Conquer Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Cooke. I'm here with Ryan Bucciantini and Jason Lyden. How's that for an intro?
That was the fastest intro I've ever heard in my life.
We got to get right into it, boys.
It's like it's in fucking speed, and you.
I didn't do speed, but I am fired up. We just got done with quarterfinals weekend for the individuals.
Would you ever snort
we're pretty fired
pre-workout?
up about it.
Would you snort pre-workout if you had to?
I don't see a scenario where I would have to, but
Snort
if I needed it,
pre-workout?
What if
I
Rich
dry
Froning?
scooped it.
What if Rich Froning came up to you and was like, "Hey, bro, everyone lied to you. When I was winning the games and dominating the CrossFit world, I was just
I was
snorting.
snorting it.
I was snorting pre-workout like every day before I trained. What'd you think about it?
Got to consider it.
I've done it.
If that meant getting in there, I would.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I've
surprised by that.
100% done it.
you've snorted pre-workout,
Yeah, it's
like Jack 3D type pre-workout, or like
oh yeah, dude, pre-deployment, yeah, 100%.
Redeployment.
It's not recommended. It doesn't feel good on the old sinuses. I'll be the first,
Dude,
I'll be
I
the
have
first to
very
admit.
sensitive sinuses. I could not do that.
Of course, you have sensitive
I
sinuses.
have. I take Zyrtec every day. I have really bad out. It's like my Achilles heel.
Let me tell you something. I'm cold plunging now because it's not frozen anymore, and it was really hard getting back into the cold plunge when I haven't been in it for a couple months because it's so cold, right?
Yep.
And this all ties back to Tyler being sensitive.
I
And
knew this was coming.
every time I sit in a cold plunge, like I don't really want to put my hands in it first, and I say, "Don't be Tyler. Put your hands in the fucking
You're not
cold
supposed to
plunge
make-
and deal with
You're
it."
not supposed to do that. I'm telling you, you get limited blood flow anyway, so you're supposed to sit like this. Water comes up to just enough.
That's
right
fun.
here.
They legit have like scientific like cooling hands to help you recover faster between hard training sessions.
Well, that's different. That's a different science. I'm just telling you. When you,
That's a different science.
I'm gonna send you a pair of these footy things I wear in there.
Don't you dare!
Keeps my toes warm.
Don't you dare!
What temperature?
Not only that, I heat
hold
them
on.
up.
What temperature do you roll at?
Mine's at 47, 46,
60?
I'm at 51.
51, dude.
Well, I got a big chunk of food in my
You
mouth.
don't
And I
even-
explain myself.
Yeah, you don't even need the toe cover. You just get there naked. 51. That's balmy. That's a bath.
According to Dr. Mike T. Nelson
I knew
and the
this was
research
coming.
and the research behind him, there is zero benefit of getting colder than 55 degrees, except for just the mental fortitude of getting into something colder. But there's no proven scientific benefit to anything under 45 degrees. So I rest
Under
my case.
55. Under 55.
Under 55.
Dude, I'm changing my shit tonight to 55 degrees because the difference in 47 and 55
It's like
is enormous.
it's like gripping your hammer versus putting your hammer in a fucking wrench. When I say hammer,
What are you talking about?
it's like gripping the hammer versus fucking wrenching the hammer.
I
Did not
that's
put that
exactly
together
where I
at
was going.
first, I'll be honest.
It's a huge
I
difference.
still don't know that I follow it.
It's a huge difference.
I'm changing it tonight because that makes me, whoever, this Mike T. Nelson guy apparently is a genius. I'm all over it. I'm following anything he says.
Yeah.
Dude, the fact that you don't know Mike T. Nelson,
I only know him through you guys.
shout out Mike T. Nelson,
Shout out.
the most respectable human being in science, in my opinion. The
Science.
only
I talked to
person I listened to.
Shout out to Owen the other day, and I was talking to him, and he said that when you guys were on with somehow or another, y'all were on with whatever. Anyway, he said that he's probably one of the only guys that would have the two of you taking notes. I was like, that's a pretty high level individual.
I feel super dumb when I talk to Mike.
When you're around him, well, that's great. I feel
Super dumb.
super dumb talking to you two. So I don't think so. Whatever Mike T. Nelson says, I'm in. So if he says 55, boys, I'm going 55, no toe covers. I can brave the cold.
I love it. What kind of cold plunge? Do you guys run chillers? Like, do you guys have like Gucci?
I have
Ice
an
tubs?
actual plunge,
Yeah.
Yeah. like the
I'm-
brand plunge,
I know Jason.
in my
does.
opinion, I have the greatest cold plunge ever created.
which is
A Nordic Wave XL.
really.
XL.
Of course, he had
So-
to throw X.
Now, wait a minute. Of course you
Jason's
have
on
to.
fire
Let me ask you
today.
this: Are you? Yeah, his hammer.
So
Did you? Do you still have the barrel though that you sit in, or do you actually have a laid down horizontal plunge?
according to Dr. Mike T. Nelson,
Jeez.
it is better to be sitting because it's better breathing mechanics in the upright posture position versus half laying, half up like in a plunge.
So, serious question. I'm building out The
He didn't say
Noose
that.
Gym.
I made that
You made that
one
up.
up.
Oh, well, don't quote Mike T. Nelson and then not have accurate data.
So I have the City upright one, the Nordic Wave
Yep.
XL Plunge. It's XL because it's big. Like I can sit in it and I can almost have my legs like I can like extend my legs and not cramped up. It's supposed to fit someone up to like 7'4", like 330. Like it's a big boy, so I love it. And it's got a light on it. I can do red light, blue light, all these different lights. I got a chiller hooked up to it. That's a heater and cold. It's the best. It's best on the market. I've made zero money off them, but it's the best in the market in my opinion. It's not porcelain, so it's not going to crack in cold weather.
I'm about to buy 2 to put in the new gym in our recovery studio.
You're going to go cold plunge in a new gym. That's like, how you going to clean that water every session? That's going to be dirty.
Did you sell an organ to buy this thing?
Yeah.
What the Nordic Plunge?
It's a bucket. How is it $7,500 on sale from
That's
$9
about
grand?
Normal, right?
The chiller's legit, man. The high pricing, in my opinion, all comes down to the chiller.
Okay. Do you ever have it? Like, is it outside?
Yeah.
And it's okay in the heat because it's hot as balls in Idaho.
Oh yeah. Like that's why I got it. It's legit. Like it goes up. It can withstand with like 130 degrees or like 17 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. Yeah, you gotta clean that water a lot. If you have it in the gym, that's gonna be like oily on top.
You just make people take a shower.
Well, it's got the filter on there, yeah. And we got to put a shower head in there so make people rinse off while you get in there. And then we'll have a maintenance lady. She'll probably empty it out every week.
A maintenance lady, damn.
Shout out Tyler Cooke, maintenance lady.
Shout out, yeah. We were talking about my estrogen levels earlier. A little elevated.
He has high estrogen levels. His nipples get sensitive around touch.
Yep. Which is why I do cold plunge, because Mike T. Nelson says that it actually lowers your estrogen. I'm kidding. I don't want to misquote Mike T. Nelson.
Yeah,
never even met the guy.
Don't disrespect Mike. He's a G.
All right, let's dive in, boys. We just had quarterfinals, individual quarterfinals. I know you both probably had a bunch of athletes go through it, probably at the highest level of like a tutor guy, and then also some folks that probably barely made it and just had their first quarterfinals weekend. So overall, give me like a 2-second, 30-second high-level thought of it, and not diving into the workouts because that's a whole separate issue.
I think we let Ryan take it. He had about 50 people qualify.
How many did you really have? What number did you really have?
I'm sitting at 7.
7 did quarterfinals, or 7 qualified for semis out of quarterfinals?
No, 7 qualified for semis.
Right. How many did you have do quarterfinals total?
14.
Damn. So you had that's a high number of your folks that were in the semifinal bucket that were truly competing this weekend. It wasn't just to throw in like, this is cool.
No. But I wanted, before we like get into it, I want to ask you guys a question. What brings you, as a coach, what makes you like more fired up? Seeing somebody like top tier, leaderboard, repeated, like tutor, multiple times, sitting at top of the food chain, apex fucking predator, or someone who's been on the grind for like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years and then finally making it to semis.
What fires me up, and this is a good question, I think my answer might sound like a cop-out answer, but what fires me up is when people have to overcome something and then achieve it. Because like Tudor finished 10th at the games, and then he crushed the World Fitness Project Championship, but I'm not going to get into it because I don't think it's necessary, but him going into these opens and quarterfinals, like he had a rough go the past like 3 to 4 months, from being sick to being hurt to like school for engineering degree. Like it was a rough go, right? So for him to have this rough bout and for him to fight some mental stuff through it and to finish 7th, like that fired me up a lot, right? And then so obviously like the other people are really clawing and digging to get in, like that fight fires me up a lot. I think just seeing people fight for something that they truly want gets me fucking ready to put my head through a wall.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. This year specifically, I had a bunch of people that are like full-time jobs and not even like easy jobs. canine handler for like
Yeah.
the state for like the Jersey State Police, or full-time teacher, just careers that are relatively labor intensive, or like full-time in the military doing like operational stuff, and then still being able to balance life, training, all of that shit, and still be able to qualify at this level, balancing all of those things like families and like that. To me, maybe it's just the chapter of life that I'm in now that I have a family and like businesses and all of these things, but being able to multitask like that and still crush it and qualify fires me up more than anything.
Yeah.
Like, athletes are cool. And, seeing the Apex do the Apex thing is super awesome. I don't want to say it's less impressive because it's clearly impressive, but I personally think it's less impressive when you have no responsibility outside of training.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So this is my question. And this is what I want to get into. How do you guys deal with the mental side of quarters, semis, all of these things? I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's gotten worse over time. Head case athletes and just guiding them, or sometimes you just have to tell them to shut the fuck up. I think that's part of it. But I do think there's some guidance within it, especially for the younger up and comers who may be a smaller fish in a bigger pond now and need to come to grips that they have to play the long game, or just trust in their fitness. Like, Jay, I'm sure you've had athletes like that. Tyler, you've clearly dealt with people on the team and things like that. How do you guys just deal with headspace athletes?
Go ahead, Ty, you can go first. I'll go.
So I'm inherently just falsely over the top positive person. I just look at the house is on fire. I'm like, we're gonna be all right. We'll get out of here. And so I struggle sometimes to see when other people are have a negative view, and some folks just wake up in the morning pissed off, and they're just the world is falling from the moment they get out of bed. And I just don't see eye to eye. It's hard for me to like deal with people like that. And so in this case, we have to, a choice because it's part of what we're doing. So part of me is just like, I try to just flood them with over positivity, ultimately just trying to get them to change their lens a little bit. I think specifically with this weekend, you could be talking about performance and placement and things like that. And obviously you can get into like, hey, you're worse not on a leaderboard and these kinds of things. At the end of the day, you're still working your ass off to try to achieve something. And then when you don't, I think a bigger part of it is expectations going in. I think a lot of these athletes just have unrealistic expectations about it. But for me, the biggest thing that I try to continue to labor with them is and I know this from personal experience from working with you now 4 years, is that I have like a blind trust in our plan. And I have a blind trust in, hey, this is what we're doing and it's going to work for whatever like for me now, my whole focus is shifted towards I'm only focused on semifinals and the games. And so even for me, I go through, been in it for a little while, been in the games twice, and I go through the open and do absolute dog shit performance wise. But it wasn't, I look at it and like my wife, Callie, we're sitting on the couch a week ago. She's like, hey, are you worried about the team? Because we did horrific in the open. And I looked at her, I said, I like laughed. And she said, I'm just asking, she's like, where? I said, no, babe. I said, because it's not a fitness thing. It's a where we're at in the year. Our emphasis was never like, let's go win the open. We were always focused on later. I had the now, I guess it kind of sounds lame, but like maturity to see that and understand where we're at and be totally fine with that. Even though like there's still a part of you that doesn't like people being able to look your name up and say, oh, dude, Tyler actually might be a fatty nowadays. His estrogen levels might be high. So that part, there is a human nature of that, but like then there's the mature athlete where I'm like, dude, it's February. I don't care. And I think some of these athletes that put way too much value in like it's quarterfinals, you just got to get the whatever that is. But I just have a blind trust in we now have a system that we've built over 4 years together that I will be nasty fit when it comes time for syndicate and then even fitter when it comes to the games because our plan says do this. And you can't look at here as like, oh man, our fitness isn't there. Man, we're just climbing, we're building. And so these athletes this weekend, I'm like, hey, You have to trust in whatever your plan was that you and your coach designed and built. And if you're now looking at this as like a checkpoint of like, oh shit, maybe we're not doing the right things. Well, then you need to go back and revisit the plan because you're clearly not bought in truly to that plan. And that part kind of bothers me because I just think when you do go in and you say, hey, I'm doing X, Y, Z, here's the plan. You have to blindly trust that that's the plan that's going to work. If not, jump off and go do something else, man. Go find another coach and come up with some other bullshit plan. That's fine. But it's frustrating when you hit these little bumps and you're like, oh man, this is an indictment of how fit I am. When in reality, it's just part of the kind of process. So I'm an overly positive guy, and then I try to make sure that expectations are the right way going into something like this. And I think a lot of times when we get upset athletes, I think it's more not even a performance base. Like when you get like a tutor, you can look at some execution stuff and some, things here and there because he's a professional. But when you got people that aren't professionals, probably it's not an execution or a performance thing. It's probably an expectation of you thought you were going to do X, and that was just never realistic. It was like you probably did pretty well based on what you did. But you went in there thinking you were going to be top whatever the marker was, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Jay, I certainly want to hear what you have to say, but to your point, it's frustrating as a coach when athletes set benchmarks throughout the year where they're like, okay, this is our benchmark. Like, this is what we're ultimately working towards. And as soon as you get to that point, it's all negative. And like, that's not every athlete, but me personally, that makes me crazy. If the goal was to make the thing and be reasonably, like do reasonably well, thinking big picture plan, if we have a 3 or 4 year strategy to like achieve what we want to achieve, if you hit the benchmark, that's a win. Stop being overly obsessed with whatever the next step is when we know we aren't built enough for that. So I think for athletes hearing this, to your point, Tyler, give yourself realistic expectations and stop thinking that this is a 1 year plan. This sport is developed in like 1 year. This is a multi-year plan. The sport is now the Olympics in my eyes. If you really want to progress in a way that makes sense and you're reasonably fit, you're still looking at 2, 3, 4 years to really
at a minimum.
make a run, unless you are a freak in one area, a freak in endurance, a freak in strength. And even if you're a freak endurance, I still think you're looking at multiple years to
build
develop
linear strength.
What you need to get to the highest peaks. And I don't know where athletes have lost that. This idea of I'm going to be super successful in the sport after training for a year or 2.
Yeah, I agree. For me, this is probably the hardest thing for me as a coach and in my coaching journey is how to handle this. And I think because if I go back to my roots, my personality as an athlete was I just did whatever I was told, like no matter what. I'll just follow the program. I did whatever I was supposed to have, and I just had faith that it'd work out. I think I also understood that you can't always have good days all the time, right? And through my experience in playing sport throughout my entire life, it's like a feast or famine type scenario where if you're playing a competitive sport and you're weak mentally, you're going to, at some next level, not be good, right? It's going to come back to bite you in the ass. So you have to learn how to deal with that, right? As a basketball player, you have to learn, okay, if I'm 0 for 15, what am I going to do? Or else I'm going to ride the bench. If I'm in a slump, what can I do to be productive? Or else someone else is going to take my spot in my role. I might lose my scholarship. Like all these things come into play when you're playing a sport. And to me, it's no different in the sport of CrossFit. It's still a sport. Like, yeah, just because you're strong and you have great capacity, you can still have a bad training day. You can still do bad in a workout just because you have certain attributes. Look at like Steph Curry, the greatest shooter ever lived. He'll still have bad shooting days, right? Nothing is guaranteed in any sport, no matter what you have based off scenarios, lifestyle, sleep, stress, fatigue, everything else that transpires. What I've witnessed in this sport is people who come into the sport who maybe don't have an experience playing sports. They don't understand that concept. They think, hey, just because I have a certain level of fitness and I'm strong, I should always work out well, right? If a workout's in my favor, I should always be able to do it well, right? I should always be able to perform well. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. Like you're going to be an amazing runner and have a terrible running split on certain days. Like things just transpire. And for me as a coach, I always had a challenge in how to deal with this because my initial response as a coach when I was beginning was Like, shut the fuck up. Like, what are you talking about? You're upset that you didn't do good. Like, I don't do the fucking workout and shut up and move on from it. Learn from it, right? Then I went through this whole like meta phase of like, kumbaya and positivity and self-talk and like, all that inner dialogue. And I think I needed to go through that. And I feel like now I'm at this phase where I'm a little bit of both, right? Where it's problem solving and being like, okay, like, why is this person so negative? Like, why every time they come around, it's a competitive area, do they have this breakdown and they can't handle bad things? And it's trying to understand where that's coming from. So I can then, if I can understand it, and I can't always understand where it's coming from, depending upon how open they are with me or where the conversations go, and if I'm not asking the right questions. But then once I understand that, trying to help them, and Ryan, you and I talk about this a lot, trying to help them kind of rephrase how they talk about things, right? And be like, okay, instead of saying like, I suck, how can you rephrase that? Going through the whole, no one talks to you more than yourself, and it's always negative. You just entirely beat yourself down. It's not going to be fun anymore, and it's going to pull you away from wanting to do anything. So trying to get them to rephrase it. But I also, and I try to focus more on that. But at some points, I do give tough love because I think that's still needed too, right? And I've had to do that a couple of times this past year. Just have whatever that tough love transpires, whether it's looking in the mirror or I don't know how it might go. It just kind of happens in a moment. I feel like that's sort of like my approach now, right? Try to get an understanding, and then from the understanding, try to help them be able to phrase how they speak and create their own accountability around that, and helping them grow with that accountability in actions and words. And then when the time comes, kicking them in the proverbial dick if I need to, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So,
Doesn't matter.
Louis Simmons famously had a kind of a training quote of, why the fuck would I ever focus on the good stuff? Right. And like early on in my coaching, like I was like, that makes perfect sense. Like, why would you ever focus on, the things that you do well? And I think the older I get and the more people I coach, there is a balance to that where you can just, if you only focus on the negative all the time, you are living as a victim. And that victim mindset is going to zap you emotionally. Like Tyler, we talked about this the other day. You see athletes who default to victim. Everything went bad. Poor me. I didn't perform well. Whatever it is. And they expend all of this emotional energy, sulking, feeling bad for themselves, doubting what they're doing, all of this stuff. And then on the flip side was what Jason's talking about of like, PMI, positive mental, attitude, like what, or PMA, whatever it is, but having a positive mental attitude and instead using that emotional energy to maybe reflect, look at what you could have done better, or just being okay, sticking to the plan, following the process, being process oriented instead of outcome oriented, I believe is going to push you longer in the sport or push you deeper in the sport. And there's 100% of balance to this, like nurture versus nature approach when competing. I do think younger athletes need to start more nurture, right? Like it's our job as coaches to educate and be like, sometimes you have to present them with what they're doing or like hold up the mirror because they don't even know what they're doing. So lean in with nurture with your younger athletes, but some of these more advanced competitors that have maybe been in the game for a little bit, I almost think you lean nature and you got to fuck them up to zap them out of whatever headspace they're in and get them in the game. Because, like, you're at where you're at. There's no getting around it. So you may as well try to do the best you can with what you got at this current point. You're not getting any fitter in the middle of the competition.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always got to be that balance to it. But I had that conversation with someone this year where, we were talking about strengths, weaknesses, and workouts and performing well. And I'm like, you could take the greatest athlete in any sport and they're not the best at everything in the sport, right? Like take Tyson, he was short. Everyone's bigger than him, right? Take Jordan, he couldn't shoot 3-pointers. He didn't have the best of handles. You can go on and on and on. But the one thing that they had that prevailed over everybody else was their mindset. And they understood their strengths, weaknesses, and knew how to favor their strengths and knew how to optimize the situation based off who they were in that moment to be the best they possibly could be and could continually to adapt, right? I think that's what people really have to dive into and get better at. And when they do get better at that and have the better inner language and dialogue and response to the way things are happening, that's just going to set them up for success.
Tyler, how do you balance it? I mean, the team is kind of shifted throughout the years, right? We've kind of made multiple runs, had different priorities throughout it, right? You're Mr. Positivity. You tend to look at the positive aspect or the potential aspect. There's been people on the team that are a little bit more outcome focused in the heat of the moment. How do you strike balance in that? Because I don't think you can lean one way or the other, especially on a team. Like, everybody's opinion within reason is valid, right? Especially as you're coming through the training season, you're trying to learn each other, you're trying to learn how each other operate. How do you deal with people who lean the other way?
That's one of the cool things I've actually thought about and reflected on over the last couple of years is that, like for me personally, just learning how to deal with different people in different situations. And what we get is super cool is we not just like coworkers that people, if you're an accountant and you work with somebody, like we get to deal with it in training, which is a very safe place. I'm in my own gym, nothing's wrong. And then you get to deal with it in the fire, which is competition and shit goes wrong and you're on the floor and you're everybody screaming. It's great. And I think what I've learned is like, and even individually, like with different people, that you have to have different ways of dealing with obviously different teammates. And then I've got different ways to handle, let's use Jess as an example. Like most of the time, it's always very positive. Like she's the negative. Hey, the sky's on fire. And I'm like, that's just the sunshine. Let's chill. And then Saturday we're training and we got in the middle of the workout and it started going a little bit wrong. And she yelled one thing and I stopped the workout, turned back, and we have a video of us like, I'm going to say yelling at each other. It was a very competitive, really cool moment where we were both just uber competitive in the moment. And had to like fix it and we fixed it in the moment. And so kind of knowing that normally that's not how I would speak to her. But in that moment, that's what had to happen because we had to keep going and keep charging. And so I don't know. I think that's just something, a skill I've developed of like knowing when to press which buttons and also knowing that there are multiple buttons to press. Just like you just said, like you've done that with me over the years. You've been Mr. Positive, like not necessarily blowing smoke, but like made me really believe firmly in myself and my abilities and my fitness and things like that. You've told me take open workouts where it's like, hey, you're going to redo this and I want you to get reckless. I want you to really go for it because you believed in me. And that gave me like, oh shit, dude, he thinks I got it. But then there's also been times when you've been like, hey man, 3 weeks ago, we were talking and you just say, the team, we were talking about the team and where we were and this, that, and the other. And you said, and yeah, you got to stop fucking around. You said, it's time to go. You got all this other stuff. I get it, but it's time to start dialing things in and you got to do that with yourself. And it was like that was kind of that hard, tough love moment of like, hey, I'm not going to tell you it's all sunshine and rainbows. So I think being able to deal with even one person, but deal with them differently and pull different levers at different times, I think is a very, very valuable, probably life skill. But in this case, especially with me on the team, I can't speak to Jess the same way on the floor in the heat of the moment that I would on a debrief later while we're eating ice cream. Like it's a totally different tone. And I think that's been something cool I've developed over the last couple of years of just dealing with people. And like I said, that'll serve me well in every aspect.
To be clear, I lied to you every time. You were never that fit. just to be totally clear and put that out there.
That's very fair. Made me believe it, which is great.
Yeah, we in the mentorship we always talk like principles versus methods, and if your only method is the hammer method, you're gonna athletes, right? And you're gonna hammer them in a way that that they aren't gonna bounce back, and you may potentially lose them as an athlete. So you gotta, as a coach, you gotta look at chapters of life. You have to coach the person in front of you, and whether that's a chapter of actually getting them to trust themselves, trust their fitness, trust their training, or if it's telling them to stop being a dickbag and dial in and start playing the game of fitness, you got to know when to do both and have the tools to be able to do both.
I think what coaches have to understand is like when we're talking about being hard on athletes, we're not saying be negative with athletes, right? I think that's what some coaches have to understand. Like There's not this bravado about going up to being someone and being like, hey, like, you're fucking soft, whatever you want to say, right? Like that's not going to do any good for anybody. And it's just going to bury athletes even more. You have to understand how to be hard, but be hard from a place of true, genuine caring and loving for the person to be better. Right? Does that make sense? Right? So in telling them the real deal, but telling them in a way that has a positive, hard-hitting tone to them. Right? Like be like Tyler, like I fucking love you and I think you're an amazing, amazing athlete. But you need to stop doing this or else you're not going to be as good as you can become. Like, I believe in you. I need you to start believing in yourself and not bearing you. Like, that's what we're kind of talking about, being able to have those conversations. We're not saying you need to beat someone down emotionally. That's not going to do good for anybody. So I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, I think
Have you seen the
you're
clip?
doing it because you know their potential.
Yeah.
Like you're holding the mirror up to them because we know as coaches what they're capable of. And I think sometimes athletes just struggle to see that.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, Ty. What are you going to say?
There was a clip of a women's basketball. Not that I wasn't watching women's basketball, but I wasn't watching women's basketball. But I did see a clip, and the coach was just in this chick's face. I think it was Louisville last weekend in the tournament. And she was in her shit, man. I mean, right up, I mean, literally on top of it. And then someone went back and lip read, and then they asked her about it afterwards. And the player was like, she was on me because she loves me and she wants me to succeed. She believes in me and all this. And everybody's kind of like, yeah, but she was in your shit. And then you go back and watch the lip read version, and she literally is 2 feet, 2 inches from her face. And she says, I believe in you. I believe you can do this. You're the built for this, blah, blah, blah. She said, but you got to want this in this situation. And so it was a moment of like really tough, hard love. But it was a point of her telling you, hey, you're here. This is your moment. Go take it, which I think is a great shot of what you're talking about, Jay, which is she wasn't berating her, calling her a dumbass, a bag of dicks. She was saying, hey, you're built for this. You're here. But it came in a tough tone because, again, they're in the middle of a fire. Like she had to pull that lever. It wasn't like, hey, sweetheart, you're going to do just fine. It was you needed to know this. Hey, I believe in you. Let's go do this.
Yeah,
it was super cool.
The true art of coaching is understanding who can take that and who can't. Right? Some athletes respond well to that and some athletes don't at all. And if you're going to talk like that to someone that doesn't respond well to it, nothing good is going to come from it, right?
It'll do the opposite. Yeah, it'll do the opposite. Shut them down.
So, yeah, it is an art form, but it's an art form when you are being hard. You're being hard out of love and truly caring. You're not trying to berate somebody in a negative way.
You need a zap back system, right? Like if you need to zap an athlete back into reality, you need to know if you need to come with a hammer or you need to come with compassion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, the coaching lines are challenging, meaning like even our facial expressions, where we stand. I remember we had the games with the team and they put in like some new movement and we were in the back and our team was like struggling. And I was sitting there and I wasn't saying anything. I was just watching them struggle and I didn't think I was making a face. And in my head, I'm like, holy fuck, we're about to bomb this workout. We can't do this fucking thing at all, right? And I feel like I couldn't talk because I feel like if I talked, I might be too negative. So I was just sitting there silent, like watching them, trying to give advice. And someone comes up to me afterwards from the team when I told them to go take a break. And they're like, dude, you look like you're about to fucking kill us right now. Everyone's on super high tension because of the way you're looking at us. Can you? And I was like, damn, I don't even realize that. Like in my head, I feel like I'm just sitting here like a statue, just watching them. But those are all things we have to be aware of, right? As coaches to truly, because the athletes are always looking at you and how you're responding and how you're flowing and your body positioning and how you're taking stuff. And if you're sending the wrong message, right, the athletes are going to take it the way you're sending it. I remember playing basketball. Like I had this one basketball coach who was absolutely out of his mind. And like if we hit like a dunk to go up by like 3 with like 30 seconds left and everyone's going crazy, he'd be screaming, calm down, going nuts. And in my head, I'm like,
you're not calm.
You're losing your fucking shit right now. Like, what do you think we're going to be doing? Right. It's like, I think that's one thing coaches really got to understand. Like their energy they put out is energy to be received.
Could you dunk?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was doing windmills to that dunk.
I don't believe that.
I was going behind my head. There's a picture of me from March Madness. I'm leaning in, lefty leaner was my go-to dunk. And I'm leaning in and the rim's like about here. And everyone's underneath us watching, looking up. It's a dope picture.
I need to see that. That's a LeBron photo he just pulled.
It's a dope picture. I would dunk on you.
Can you still dunk? Can you still dunk?
Funny story about that one. During COVID, we my son was like, I don't know, he was young. I'm gonna say like 6 years ago, right? So 8. There was these 2 high school kids on our street, and I would challenge them to basketball. me and my son, who's 8 years old, versus these 2 high school kids. And I would fucking give it to them. Like, there's no letting up, right?
Of course.
And we were playing outside, and I went up and I dunked it. I leaned in, boom, I dunked it. I came down, I finished off the game, and I'm walking back, and my wife's there, and I'm like, I think I just tore my hip dunking. Right? and ever since then, my hip's been messed up from that one dunk.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Swear to God. And she's like, well, why are you going
That's
so hard?
incredible.
She's like, why are you going so hard? They're just in high school. And I'm like, that's exactly why I'm going so hard.
That's why. Yeah, you
I'm
just
like,
answered your own question.
I'm like, when I was coming up, like, I was getting beat up by dudes who were bigger than me on the basketball court, older than me. Like I could not win unless I deserved to win. Nobody was letting me win. And I'm like, everyone's soft nowadays. I'm like, why am I going to let these 2 kids win? Then they're going to say, hey, we're better than Jay. We beat him. Like, hell
No
no.
shot.
And they never beat us. Me and my son was 8 years old. And if I was their mindset, I would be like, how the fuck are we going to lose to a 40-year-old and 8-year-old son? Like, I'd be
Just
doing
broke his
everything.
hip.
I'd be doing everything I possibly could to be beating that old man and his son. I'd be posting up that 8-year-old nonstop. Posting him up. That's it, buddy. We're winning. I'm sorry, but
I'd be setting pics on your bad hip.
you're getting posted up, and I'm going to throw elbows at your little head when I turn around, and we're winning this game. That's it. Like,
And that's
come
the
on.
Louis Simmons approach to street ball during COVID.
You got to
I
earn
can
everything.
confirm that Jay is actually this competitive.
Oh my God,
That's incredible.
This is not a
I'm-
facade.
I'm the worst.
I love
like,
it.
I was having talks to my team. Like, I'm like, you guys, like, this is way back. I'm like, you gotta like when you step out on a floor to do a workout, to compete, in your mind, you should be saying, I want to make it so this team feels like they don't deserve to be on the floor with us right now. Like I want to lap them. I go, because in my head, I don't think any of you guys should be on the floor with me. Like, I don't care if it's a 225-pound snatch, which I can't do. I still think I'm beating every single one of you guys in this
I'm gonna
workout,
figure
no
it
matter
out.
what, right? And I'm going to figure this shit out to beat you guys. And I'm going to let you know I'm beating you subtly. So you're going to hate it, right? I'm like, you got to like have that dog in you where it's like, not only am I going to win, but I'm going to make you feel bad about yourself, right? And like,
Make you want to quit.
Yeah, like, yeah, that was always my goal.
Jay's gonna.
Well, there we go.
Jay's gonna try to throw up 225, and the other hip's gonna go.
No, my
The other
shoulder,
hip, you can't walk.
shoulder, I can't even bench press 35-pound dumbbells right now. Nothing's going overhead on
Damn.
this guy.
It's not
Jacked
good.
it. All right, let's wrap it up there.
Good stuff today, boy.
All right, folks.
Tyler,
Thanks for
take us home.
listening.
Brian,
Hope you
take us home.
enjoyed the episode. Cohort 5, the Conquer mentorship, is launching early April. So if you're a coach, want to learn more about what we talk about on the podcast in significantly more depth with probably a little bit less bullshit, hit us up. We're only taking a handful of people in this cohort, so super small, super intentional. We will work directly with you to help you dial in your coaching game. Until next week, talk to you guys soon.